Hello and welcome to New Filmmakers Los Angeles in partnership with Movie Maker magazine. My name is Danny DeLillo and we're here at the South Park Center. I'm delighted to be joined with Miguel with his fantastic movie, This One Is For the Neighborhood. Let's take another clip.
Do I have the job?
Well, only you called. You'll have to come here to paint me every day. They start with one house, then a block, and then take an entire neighborhood until it's all gone.
Thank you so much for being here. Welcome to the New Filmmakers LA family. And thank you so much for bringing your film to us.
I'm thrilled to be selected to the festival. It's one of my favorites, and the sessions is one of the best experiences that I've had in my festival run with all my shorts.
Well, listen, happy to hear that, and I'm so glad you got to meet amazing people because you truly deserve it. I honestly loved your film so much. Like, I've got so many questions. I'm so moved by it. But for those that haven't seen it, tell us a brief synopsis.
Sure, so This One Is For the Neighborhood is about two very different people coming together through a shared story. Doña Vicky, a very peculiar older lady, hires someone on Craigslist to make a portrait of herself in her new house. The painter struggles to come up with an idea that really reflects the personality of Doña Vicky. So they struggle to come up with something that captures her essence. And it is on one of her walks where they come together through a shared story, the story of her house, her older house, and it's just a short about the meaning of home and belonging.
It's an infectious story because you got these two characters that you're so curious about, and you're not quite sure in which direction it's going to go, and then what's really going on in their own lives as well, and what's happening. For you, where did the inspiration come for you in creating this story and then deciding to turn it into a film?
Yes, so while I was creating this story, the house of my grandma in Chihuahua, Mexico was, when she passed away many years ago, it was sold, right? So it was there for many, many years intact. Nobody, took it down, anything, until that moment that I got a call from my mom saying they're gonna take it down, they're gonna build some offices. So I was like, what do I do with these, conflicting feelings, but also it's a place that holds so much value. Like you can still, I grew up in that house because we had the candy shop, right? Like next to that house.
Oh, you did? Oh, wow.
So I grew up there. I can still, like the smells. She had an orange tree there and she would like boil the leaves in the house for it to smell good. So I can still like smell those sensations, feel the house, the texture. So I was like, what do I do with these feelings? And I came up with that short. I didn't know how to put it together because I didn't know what genre, and also I didn't know like in what format. I wanted to be like maybe like a hybrid between a doc and fiction. And I thought this is not gonna work out, so I just went with fiction, right? And then the footage at the end, my brother took that footage for me and he sent it to me, so I decided to put it in the credits.
Wow.
So we can know that this is a real story. And
yeah,
so I just try to code it with symbolisms that are very special to me, like the orange tree, the painting, just little details, like when the painter opens the box in the living room, you can see some like numbers, and those were the numbers that were in my grandma's house. So just little details.
I love that, and it's so warming to hear you took something so personal to you and then brought it to context and then made this universal story as well, which was amazing. I really did I love the characters. I love the characters that you created. They both were fascinating in their own individual ways. How did you go about bringing your cast together?
I always knew that for Doña Vicky, the older woman, I wanted René Victor.
She's
I've
amazing.
seen her work on Vida. She was
So good.
on Disney's Coco, the voice of the grandmother.
Yeah.
She's amazing, and also like her personality. You know, I feel like it helps to create this peculiar character that has like some edge, some energy. And then for Sai, I wanted a non-binary character just to touch on queer topics, since it's something that I like to, you know, touch on most of my work.
Yeah.
And I auditioned a lot of people for that character, and I just wasn't like okay with it. I also like reached out to some people's managers, and they were like, okay, give me an offer. And you know, like you get lost in translation.
Yeah, of
and,
course.
but I went to backstage and just like look and look and look until I found Sai, which Sai is a non-binary person. They don't, you know, they're not an actor. So it was like the first real acting role that they did, and I feel like they excel. Like ever since
Yeah.
I saw their audition, I was like, yeah, this is what I want, because it was like very natural, very realistic.
Yeah. How did they feel like taking on like that role for the first time?
I think it helped with their dynamics, you know, because Renee Victor is like a big actress. Sai is like just starting. So it was, I think they were a little bit stunned in a way, so that helped the role, the awkwardness between them.
Yeah, yeah, no, I love it. Well, I mean, you know, what I also love as well is the dynamic of age groups, the dynamic of different backgrounds, a dynamic of, you know, a non-binary character incorporate into this, both with different experiences, but then finding this way to like come together. And I think sometimes in life we feel a little bit disjointed with even our communities or our circumstances and not knowing what one is going through, et cetera, et cetera. I just thought they played out beautifully together. It was so refreshing to see these two characters like come together in the way they did. But it was very well acted, and I'm just curious, for you as a director, how do you work with your actors to kind of bring out performance?
I have an acting background, so it's very easy for me to communicate with them, to understand their processes as well, to know what they want and how they want to receive it. And I also like to have rehearsals. Like for me, rehearsals are everything, because you cannot do everything when you're on set. You have to do whatever you can before it. So I had some rehearsals with René and also with Sai, but with Sai we're on Zoom, and then I went to René's house and we went through the script. She asked me some questions. We talked about the script. We changed a little things. And then I also like to let them do their own thing. That's why I like to do the work before, so they know where we're going.
Yeah.
So when we're on set, it's just like redirection, redirect them to the vision.
Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, obviously this experience comes from, you know, something quite personal and a place that you remember growing up yourself, you know, but I think we also understand this is also a very gentrified city as well, where we're constantly seeing situations like this where people have had homes for years and they're turning it into apartment buildings and all kinds of stuff. Was that something that you also, as well as taking it something personal to you, but also drawing attention, like we're in a city that exists and it's you know, I don't think we really acknowledge what that does for a family, what that does for a neighborhood, and you really captured it so well. It's almost haunting to see because we see it every day here too.
Yes, and I wanted to focus on the value of these places. I didn't want it to make it political.
Yeah.
Although it is inherently political, I just wanted to focus on the feelings, you know, and just use it as a way to express myself.
Yeah.
And also, we shot it in East Hollywood, and I didn't know that Hollywood is one of the most gentrified places. Of course, we don't know it because it's been like decades.
Yeah.
But it is one of the most gentrified places and cities in LA County.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's also very meaningful that we picked out that
Oh,
place.
absolutely. No, most definitely, for sure. And it's consistently changing today. What have you learnt mostly from this experience, Miguel?
To work with a limited budget and to shot on everything in one day. I think it's a skill that you acquire and that hopefully you carry on to, bigger budget projects.
Yeah.
Also to work with a bigger crew, and to follow my instincts, to follow my voice, to, I like to give the script to people and for them to give me notes. And some people they're gonna say like, this is not you, this is not your voice, but also when they watched the short afterwards, they were like, I'm very proud of you, and like, I'm glad that you did this in the way that you did. So that lets you know that you sometimes have to follow that instinct.
Yeah,
because there's so
absolutely.
many voices when you are creating, and you can get lost in there,
No,
follow.
absolutely, yeah. And obviously, I love the title. The title of this film. It's quite. And then as you watch the film, you really understand why you named it the title, which is really cool. I love also that you've got a kind of cross of genre as well. I feel like I'm watching a drama, then it's quite dark comedy, and then you're like, oh, what's going on at the end? Oh my goodness, I love how you played around with that, because I felt like I was watching a film, I didn't know what was happening next. So, well on to you. But I'm just curious, in the reaction, what has the reaction been like from your audience in making the film? Because I'm sure a lot of people take it in different ways and understand it in different ways. So how has it been for you so far?
Well, first, thank you for that. And then, being in the audience every time is just like nerve-wracking. It's such an important part of the process. It is when you can criticize your own work depending on the reactions of other people. So it's all about the audience. So I would say that, like, it's everything to be there, and it's nerve-wracking, but you have to pay attention to how people react.
Yeah.
I like to hear some laughs.
Yeah.
I like when people have something to say, because that lets you know everything, and if you're accomplished what you intended to do, you know.
That's true. Well, I really, as an actor, I think you developed really great, really great, interesting and complex characters that I was just so curious about. Like, I was almost like, can we have a feature? Like, I want to see more. Like, what, it was just, they're very interesting. But what is next for you? What is next that you're working on?
Yeah, so right now I'm currently working on 2 feature films.
Excellent.
Both are queer.
Yeah.
One of them is like Spanglish. I'm trying to shoot it in Mexico.
Amazing.
It's a early coming of age about like inspiring my high school days. I didn't grow up being like able to express my identity freely, so I'm trying to reclaim that and just like play with it and reimagine what my high school years could have been. And then the other one, it's a queer, more adult drama based in LA.
Oh, awesome.
It's gonna be pretty easy to, well, not easy, but easier, like not big budget, easier to shoot. So I'm very excited about those 2 projects.
That's
and I'm
amazing.
also like always writing shorts.
Yeah.
Whether it's for competitions or for like a proof of concept, if I want to explore like something more long form, I think it's a very good way to just go first and create like something smaller to see what's in there, what's the core and the essence, and then from there just see if it would work.
What inspires you as a storyteller like the most? What you kind of drawn into when you're writing and creating your stories?
I think it's also like a gut feeling. Your heart has to be in it. So I'm very instinctive with that. And also, I like to create stories about my community. I like to be very in touch. I like to see what's the future. Like I like to create like things that are opening the way for other people. Like, for example, with a non-binary character, I didn't want to explore, or I didn't want like have the other character like ask them about their identity. I just wanted them to simply exist. And I had some non-binary people reached out to me and say like, hey, I like these. And I feel like it's one of the only few people that can notice what I did there. So it's really comforting and reassurance.
Absolutely.
And
I think it's really, you know, again, especially in queer film, there's always tends to, or if there's queer characters, there's a lot of stereotypes of like how a person should be. And I, you know, being part of the, you know, the LGBT+ community, I found it very refreshing that it was just like these two people that were, you know, she's just acceptance, and it was like, I accept you on your base of your character, and you're going to paint me. And that was so refreshing that it wasn't like this ideal thing of, you know, which was really nice. It's hopefully the world we're moving into, you know, hopefully, but we'll see. But listen, Miguel, thank you so much for the film that you brought to us. I'm really looking forward to your next two projects, and welcome to the new Filmmakers LA family.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Miguel, everybody.